Andrew Macaulay, adventurer, kayaker, a man driven by an insatiable thirst for adventure and a relentless desire to push the boundaries of human endurance. Andrew wasn't just any adventurer, he was a man with a vision, a dream, that many would consider impossible. His passion for kayaking wasn't just a hobby, it was a way of life, a calling that beckoned him to the most challenging waters on the planet. He loved a good challenge, the thrill of the unknown, the excitement of venturing into uncharted territories, and the satisfaction of conquering the seemingly unconquerable were what fueled his spirit. Andrew's eyes would light up at the mere thought of a new adventure, and his smile would widen as he meticulously planned every detail of his next expedition. He looked across the huge Tasman Sea, ready to take it on. The vast expanse of water stretched out before him, a formidable challenge that had defeated many before him. But Andrew saw it differently. To him, the Tasman Sea was not just a body of water, it was a canvas for his dreams, a stage for his ultimate test of endurance and skill. His plan? Kayak from Australia to New Zealand all by himself. A journey of over 1,600 kilometers across one of the most treacherous stretches of ocean in the world. It was a feat that had never been accomplished before, a challenge that many deemed impossible. But for Andrew it was the ultimate adventure, a chance to push himself to the very limits of human capability. No one had ever done it before. The sheer scale of the challenge was daunting. The vast, empty ocean with its unpredictable weather and powerful currents was a formidable adversary. But Andrew was undeterred. He saw the challenge not as a barrier but as an opportunity to prove to himself and the world that anything was possible with determination and perseverance. The Tasman Sea is known for being rough and unpredictable, but Andrew wasn't scared. He had faced rough waters before, and he knew the risks involved. The sea could be calm and serene one moment and a raging tempest the next. But Andrew was prepared. He had trained for this, both physically and mentally, and he was ready to face whatever the Tasman Sea had to throw at him. He loved pushing himself to the limit. The thrill of testing his endurance, the satisfaction of overcoming obstacles, and the joy of achieving what others thought impossible were what drove him. Andrew thrived on challenges, and the Tasman Sea was the ultimate test of his skills and determination. He was excited to test his skills and maybe become famous for this adventure. The thought of being the first person to kayak solo across the Tasman Sea was exhilarating. It was a chance to make history, to leave a legacy that would inspire others to pursue their dreams, no matter how impossible they might seem. This was his Mount Everest, his biggest goal, the ultimate challenge that he had been preparing for his entire life. Every adventure, every challenge he had faced before had led him to this moment. The Tasman Sea was his Everest, and he was determined to conquer it. He thought about all the details, everything he needed to plan for such a dangerous trip. From the food and water supplies to the navigation equipment and safety gear, every detail was meticulously planned. Andrew knew that the success of his journey depended on his preparation, and he left nothing to chance. Every piece of equipment was important. Each item had a specific purpose, and Andrew made sure that everything was in perfect working order. His kayak was specially designed for the journey, equipped with all the necessary gear to ensure his safety and success. His kayak was his best friend, his only hope in the middle of the ocean. It was more than just a vessel. It was his lifeline, his sanctuary in the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Tasman Sea. Andrew trusted his kayak with his life, and he knew that it would carry him safely to his destination. The Tasman Sea, a vast expanse of water that stretches between Australia and New Zealand, known for its unpredictable and often treacherous conditions. This body of water has been a formidable challenge for sailors and adventurers for centuries. A wild and stormy stretch of water. The Tasman Sea is notorious for its sudden storms and high waves that can appear out of nowhere, making it one of the most challenging seas to navigate. The waves can reach heights of over 10 meters, and the winds can be fierce and relentless. Sailors told scary stories about it, stories of huge waves and powerful winds. These tales were passed down through generations, each one more harrowing than the last. The sea was a place of mystery and danger, where the line between life and death was often razor thin. The wind could change in a second, turning the calm water into a raging monster. One moment, the sea could be as smooth as glass, and the next, it could be a boiling cauldron of waves and wind. This unpredictability made it a true test of skill and endurance for anyone who dared to cross it. Giant waves, like mountains of water, could swallow anything. These waves were not just a physical challenge but a psychological one as well. The sheer size and power of the waves could instill fear in even the most experienced sailors. It was a reminder of the ocean's immense power and the smallness of man in comparison. Sharks swam below, a reminder of how dangerous the ocean really is. These predators of the deep added another layer of danger to the already perilous journey. The thought of what lay beneath the surface was enough to keep anyone on edge. But this danger was exactly what Andrew wanted. He was not deterred by the stories of danger and death. Instead, they fueled his desire to conquer the Tasman Sea. For Andrew, the greater the challenge, the greater the reward. The Tasman Sea was the ultimate test. It was a proving ground for those who sought to push their limits and achieve something extraordinary. Andrew saw it as an opportunity to test his skills, his endurance, and his willpower. If he could make it across, it would be his greatest achievement. The journey would not be easy, but the sense of accomplishment at the end would be worth every hardship. It was a chance to prove to himself and to the world that he could overcome the odds. He knew it was risky, he knew he might fail. The dangers were real, and the possibility of failure was always present, but Andrew was willing to take that risk. He believed that the greatest rewards came from the greatest risks. But for Andrew, it was worth the risk. The thought of what he could achieve kept him going. He was driven by a desire to push his limits and to see how far he could go. The Tasman Sea was his Everest, and he was determined to reach the summit. He was ready to risk everything for his dream. With his kayak and his determination, Andrew set off into the vast and dangerous sea, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The journey would be long and arduous, but he was prepared to give it his all. For Andrew, the Tasman Sea was not just a body of water, it was a symbol of his dreams and his determination to achieve them. Andrew spent years getting ready for this adventure. He planned every little detail. His life depended on it. He trained hard, getting stronger every day. He spent hours kayaking, practicing in tough conditions. He pushed himself to be ready for anything. His kayak was special, built just for this trip. It was light but strong, with all the latest technology. Food, water, safety gear, he packed everything carefully. Every ounce mattered. Andrew knew that one small mistake could be a big problem out on the Tasman Sea. The day finally came. A beautiful morning, full of excitement. Family and friends were on the shore, a mix of happy and worried. Andrew, his eyes full of determination, hugged his loved ones. He knew they were scared. He got into his kayak, the paddle feeling comfortable in his hands. He waved goodbye and pushed off, the kayak gliding through the water. He was alone, surrounded by blue, with only the sound of the waves. His journey had begun. Days turned into nights as Andrew fought the changing moods of the Tasman Sea. Each day brought new challenges, and each night was a test of endurance. The sea was a living entity, constantly shifting and changing, never allowing him a moment of peace. Andrew had to be vigilant, always on guard, as the waves could turn from gentle to ferocious in an instant. The isolation was profound, with only the stars and the vast expanse of water for company. Yet, in this solitude, he found a deep connection with nature, a sense of being part of something much larger than himself. The sun burned his skin, relentless and unforgiving. It was a constant reminder of the harsh environment he was navigating. Despite applying sunscreen, the sun's rays were merciless, leaving his skin red and blistered. The heat was oppressive, sapping his energy, and making every paddle stroke a Herculean effort. But Andrew was determined. He knew that every moment spent battling the sun was a step closer to his goal. He had trained for this, both physically and mentally, and he was not about to let the sun's fury deter him. The salty water stung his eyes, a constant irritant that he had to endure. His body was tired, muscles aching from the continuous exertion. The salt water was everywhere, seeping into his clothes, his gear, and his skin. It was a battle against the elements, and Andrew had to dig deep into his reserves of strength and resilience. Every stroke of the paddle was a testament to his determination, a refusal to give in to the discomfort and pain. He had come too far to turn back now. Sometimes the ocean was calm, like a mirror reflecting the sky. These moments of tranquility were rare but precious. They offered a brief respite from the relentless struggle, a chance to catch his breath and appreciate the beauty around him. The water would be so still that it seemed to merge with the sky, creating a seamless horizon. In these moments, Andrew felt a profound sense of peace, a reminder of why he had embarked on this journey. It was a chance to connect with the natural world in a way that few people ever experience. He saw amazing sea creatures, dolphins swimming next to his kayak, their playful energy a stark contrast to the grueling journey he was on. The dolphins seemed to sense his presence, often swimming alongside him as if offering their support. Their graceful movements and joyful leaps out of the water were a source of inspiration for Andrew. It was a reminder that he was not alone in this vast ocean, that there was life all around him, thriving and beautiful. These encounters with dolphins were like gifts from the sea, moments of joy that lifted his spirits and renewed his determination. Whales jumping out of the water were another awe-inspiring sight. These majestic creatures, with their immense size and power, were a humbling reminder of the ocean's grandeur. Seeing a whale breach the surface, its massive body soaring into the air before crashing back into the water, was a spectacle that left Andrew in awe. It was a moment of pure wonder, a connection with the wild that few people ever get to experience. These encounters with whales were a highlight of his journey, a testament to the incredible diversity of life in the ocean. But these peaceful times didn't last long. The weather could change in an instant, with sudden dark clouds forming over the ocean. The transition from calm to stormy was swift and often brutal. One moment the sea would be a serene expanse of blue, and the next, it would be a churning, angry mass of waves and wind. Andrew had to be constantly prepared for these sudden changes, always ready to face the storm. It was a test of his skills and his resolve, a challenge that he had to meet head-on. Storms would come out of nowhere, the wind screaming, the waves crashing over his kayak. The fury of the storm was a force to be reckoned with, and Andrew had to summon all his strength and courage to navigate through it. The wind would howl, whipping the sea into a frenzy, and the waves would rise up like mountains, threatening to engulf him. It was a battle against nature, a test of his endurance and his will to survive. But Andrew was undeterred. He had faced storms before, and he knew that he had the skills and the determination to overcome them. The waves crashing over his kayak were relentless, each one a challenge that he had to overcome. Andrew had to stay focused, his mind and body working in unison to keep the kayak steady and moving forward. The power of the waves was immense, and it took all his strength to keep from being capsized. But he was determined to push through, to keep going no matter what. Every wave he conquered was a victory, a testament to his resilience and his unwavering spirit. He fought hard, never giving up. Each stroke of the paddle was a declaration of his determination, a refusal to be defeated by the elements. Andrew's journey was a testament to the power of the human spirit, a story of perseverance and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. He knew that every challenge he faced was a step closer to his goal, and he was determined to see it through to the end. His resolve was unshakable, his spirit indomitable. He was careful with his food and water, rationing his supplies to ensure that he had enough to last the journey. Every meal was a calculated decision, every sip of water a precious resource. Andrew had to be meticulous in his planning, always aware of his limited supplies and the need to make them last. It was a constant balancing act, a test of his discipline and his ability to manage his resources. But he was prepared for this, and he knew that careful planning was key to his success. Focused on reaching New Zealand, Andrew kept his eyes on the horizon. It was the beacon that guided him, the goal that kept him going through the toughest times. Every paddle stroke brought him closer to his destination. Every challenge he overcame was a step towards his dream. The journey was long and arduous, but Andrew's determination never wavered. He was driven by a deep sense of purpose, a desire to achieve something extraordinary, and with every passing day, he knew he was getting closer to making that dream a reality. Then, nothing. Days went by without any word from Andrew. Everyone started to worry. His radio was silent. Search teams went out looking for him, but they couldn't find anything. Then, a weak signal, a broken message hard to hear. It was Andrew's voice, scared and desperate. He was in trouble, his kayak was leaking. Where was he? No one knew for sure. The message scared everyone who heard it. It reminded them how dangerous the ocean can be. Everyone was racing to find him.